Thanks, Rita. Good evening and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Damp and cold. The rental properties in our region falling below energy efficiency standards. New data reveals 2 of our cities are among the worst in the country. We'll get tips on how to heat your home from an eco-expert. Also tonight, the devastating impact of moorland fires. Work starts to assess the damage caused by the latest blaze.
And we're just asking the public to remain vigilant when they're on the Marsden Moor. Obviously, don't bring naked flames, barbecues, and if they do see any unusual activity, is to contact us.
Warming up for Le Mans, the motorsport team from Yorkshire who are firm favourites in France. He wowed the judges here. Now Sheffield's Kyle Tomlinson is off to Spain to perform in Europe's Got Talent, the best of the best.
And what a difference a day makes. All this week it's been grey and cold along the coast, but just look at Whitby at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Absolutely stunning, and a lot of sunshine to come over the next few days. Join me for that all-important weekend forecast.
Hello there, Friday has come around again. Do stick around for that Kyle Tomlinson interview because he is absolutely fantastic. But let's get to tonight's top story first of all. Thousands of rented homes in our region are falling below proposed energy efficiency standards, leaving tenants living in houses which are often drafty, damp and difficult to keep warm. The government are proposing all rental properties have an energy performance rating of C or above. But figures from the property data company Outra show that Doncaster and Bradford are among the worst in the country, with 7 out of 10 private properties currently falling below this standard. Analysis shows that on average, tenants could save almost a third on their heating costs if improvements were made. Kathy Killick has been finding out what needs to be done to help.
You might not be feeling the need for extra warmth right now, but come the winter, these rolls of insulation will make a huge difference. They're installed for free in qualifying houses using government grants and some funding from local councils. But some installers say the grants are difficult to get and people in genuine need don't qualify.
It can be very frustrating, to be honest with you, because personal independence payment and the disability living allowance, those 2 benefits are no longer qualifying. So it's very frustrating for us when we get people that we feel should qualify for the grant and benefit from the grant and need it more, I suppose, but we can't help them because the qualifying criteria has changed and it doesn't allow us to do that anymore.
Where the work can be done, it's transformational. The walls of this privately rented Victorian house in Bradford have been fully insulated and replastered. It's cosy for the kittens and their owner.
While the work was getting done, obviously it would be hectic, so many people in the house. And once it was done, you actually feel the heat staying in the room. My daughter and my son, who stay in the attic, they noticed the biggest difference. As soon as she went upstairs, when the work was done, she says, "Mum, I can feel it already. It's warmer."
The job to make all homes well insulated is huge, and the government's still deciding how best to do it.
So this is not just landlords having to do something. This is about local government, the community at large, agreeing on what communities are going to look like, what a property is going to look like. So there's still many, many questions unanswered and need to be resolved before things move forward.
How have you found all the work that we've done for you in the house? Has it been good for you?
Installers know the value of their work. Abby's energy bills will be around £900 cheaper next year, and tenants like her and the planet generally need action now. The pressure's on to decide how best to alter our homes for a greener future and who should get help to do it. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Bradford.
Thanks, Kathy. So what can you do to improve the energy efficiency of your home? Josh Jackman is from the website The Eco Experts, and earlier I asked him how you find out what energy rating your home is.
All you need to do is go on the government's EPC register and plug in your postcode. Then it'll come up with the EPC rating of your home. Unless there hasn't been one in the last 10 years, then you'll just have to pay for a new survey, and that usually costs about £75.
We'll come back to costs in a moment. I think a lot of people will have seen those certificates. They're rated from A, which is really good, down to F, which is poor. But what do those letters actually really mean? How do they inform your actions?
So the EPC report will contain recommendations based on the current state of your home. So whether that's telling you to get more insulation, whether that's telling you to get solar panels or other energy-saving devices. Some of those are quite cheap and some of those are not so cheap.
I can already feel my wallet twitching when you mentioned the £75 for the certificate and then insulation and solar panels. Some of us will have those, some of us won't. Are there any sort of easier, cheaper fixes that people can make immediately?
Absolutely. So if you're looking at heating, it's definitely worth looking into draft proofing your home. It just costs a few quid to get tape or other ways of stopping cold air from getting in or your heat from escaping. You'll also want to look at thermal curtains. Those usually cost about £100, but can save you at least twice that over a year on average. It's also good if you have a hot water tank to look at a jacket for it. Those typically cost about £16 and save you £70 a year.
It sounds like what you're saying is you've got to invest to see a return. Are there grants available for those big ticket items like cavity wall insulation, things like that?
Yes, absolutely. There's more grants available if you live in a low-income household or if you're on certain benefits. Then the Eco4 scheme will be available to you, or the home upgrade grant as well. Definitely look into that. If you live in certain parts of the UK, you may also be able to access other local authority grants. Just call your local authority, see what's available, or of course go to our website. All the information you need is there.
Josh, brilliant tips. Thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Now, believe it or not, fire services are back tackling a blaze on the moors above Marsden this evening after a fire reignited. 3 square kilometres of moorland in West Yorkshire has been destroyed by fire over the last 4 months. Phil Bodmer has spent the day there.
Well, currently around 25 to 30 firefighters are tackling this reignition of a fire from earlier on Tuesday up on Wessendon Moor. I'm told the fire now measures a space of around 600 by 400 metres, so quite a sizable blaze. That's being fanned on by a stiff breeze up on the tops. The fire service say they are likely to remain here overnight. What they'll be keen to do is make sure this doesn't spread. And of course, this recent spate of fires is bringing a lot of questions now about how they've been started. That is now a matter of investigation. Another plume of smoke rises on moorland high above Marsden. 7 wildfires have already ravaged this precious landscape in recent weeks. This one near Butterley Reservoir is said to have reignited from Tuesday. As fire crews tackle the latest incident, National Trust rangers are assessing the damage to this site of special scientific interest.
Well, this fire happened about 4 weeks ago, and what we're seeing is Molinia, which is one of the really dominant species. We're seeing the regrowth, and that will take over everything like the sphagnum moss, the cotton grass and so on that we would want to be up here to create that diverse habitat.
The fires come at a crucial time for some species. Ground nesting birds like the curlew and golden plover face losing their natural habitat. And there's a destruction of important peat soils too. Well, fire crews are currently tackling another outbreak here on the ridge above Bin Moor here. Now, it comes and goes in waves. One moment the smoke appears to die down, then the next it fills the whole valley. But as the fire service say, tackling these kind of incidents on this terrain is exceptionally challenging.
Obviously, the location is so difficult to get our resources to crews across, and then when they're working in such conditions, heat, exhaustion, things like that, and getting water over to the middle of the moor is very difficult.
The cause of the wildfires is currently under investigation by the police and fire service. The National Trust says the loss of sphagnum moss, which captures carbon, is also concerning.
It will take years and years and years to recover. The biodiversity that we need to see in here to support different species of wildlife and animals, We can help by planting things like sphagnum moss, which will help keep water on the site. We can help with a different mosaic of different species, but it will take us years to get back. And the carbon, once it's released, is really difficult for us to get back and capture as well.
It's easy to see why this place is such a draw, but the devastating consequences of wildfires will scar this landscape for years to come. People are being asked to remain vigilant and take care, so future generations will get to appreciate it too. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North on Marsden Moor.
Thanks, Phil. We'll keep you across that story this weekend. Now, some other headlines making news in the newsroom this afternoon. Police investigating the death of a woman in Sheffield have arrested a man on suspicion of murder. Emily Sanderson, who was 48, was found dead at a house in Hillsborough on Tuesday. She died from head injuries. Emily was reported missing after not being seen or heard from since the 19th of May. A 43-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder, and a woman who was arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender has been bailed. Now, there's been more disruption on rail services across our region today due to another strike. Members of the RMT union are walking out over pay, and there's a strike by the ASLEF drivers union tomorrow. Meanwhile, at Yorkshire Ambulance Service, paramedics and call handlers are also on strike today as part of their pay dispute. A man from Leeds who's been rescuing dogs for more than 30 years has died at the age of 62. We featured Brian Wheelhouse many times on this programme. He ran Whitehall Dog Rescue in East Ardsley. He saved thousands of dogs, many who lived their whole life in his care. He was diagnosed with a brain tumour last year, but set up a trust so his rescue work can continue. A ticket provider has apologised to customers after many were turned away from the first day of filming for the new Gladiators series in South Yorkshire. Applause Store said they saw unprecedented demand for the free tickets, and its website clearly stated entrance was on a first-come, first-served basis. Thousands turned up at the arena in Sheffield on Thursday, with some queuing for hours, only to be told the venue was at full capacity.
Frustrated, disappointed, annoyed that we'd wasted nearly 2 hours of our time. We were told that the capacity of the arena was only going to be 3,000, and so all the people in the queue, right up to people who were nearly at the box office, were all told that there were no more tickets.
A celebration of textiles and fashion gets underway in Kirklees this weekend. Hundreds of people are getting involved in this year's Woven Festival, from artists and musicians to schools and community groups. People from across Kirklees will be taking to the catwalk to show off their individual style. It all kicks off tomorrow at Dewsbury Town Hall. Now, a mental health charity in Huddersfield says it's facing closure if it can't find more funding. Platform One started out back in 2019 as a drop in space and a meeting area for men suffering from mental health issues. Since then, it's grown rapidly, trying to meet the needs of the whole community. But money is running out and the future looks uncertain, as Abby Jola reports.
The Platform One charity got its name from its location next to Huddersfield Station. It originally operated in repurposed railway carriages and started as a men-only project. But over the years, it's grown to support anyone who needs mental health help.
We work with the sadness in life, unfortunately. Even though this is a really happy place, and we create a safe environment for people to come into and feel as though that they're welcome here and get the help that they needed, no matter what that help may be. They've ripped all the roof off, ripped all down here. We don't know why they've done that.
But after a recent flood, burst pipes, repeated vandalism and a funding shortfall, the future is looking very uncertain.
At the moment, we think we could possibly go maybe a month or so. There are other ways. There are people donating money in, so we can extend it because we don't have that many outgoings at the moment. But that's not sustainable.
For now, staff are based in offices nearby. They're no longer being paid, but continue to work. Demand has been increasing. Recent figures show over the last year, around 300,000 people in Yorkshire were in contact with mental health services. That's an increase of 12%. Platform One has been a lifeline for many in Huddersfield.
I would have probably ended up committing suicide because there weren't any help from anywhere. I'd exhausted everywhere.
I came through the door and I may not have been sat here today if they hadn't have just embraced me, swept me up.
People who've been supported by Platform One say they fear being left with nowhere to turn.
What they provide here is life-saving.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen if I couldn't come here. It's really helped.
Very unhappy, I'd say. I'd probably shed a tear, to be honest. It's bubbling. But yeah, they can't. I don't see how they can let a place like this shut down, to be honest.
The charity say they're committed to helping people on their mental health journeys, but if there's no new money soon, it really will be the end of the line. Abby Jayola, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
Oh, let's hope something turns up for Platform One, doing great work there in Huddersfield. Now, after all those trips to Wembley, after all that nail-biting action in the football, I was thinking football things would have calmed down a bit now, Sally, but apparently not.
No, football season may be over, but we've still got football news to bring you. After just 30 days and 4 games in charge, Sam Allardyce has stepped down as manager of Leeds United, leaving the club once again looking for a new head coach. It's hard to believe it's only 15 months since Marcelo Bielsa parted ways with Leeds. Jesse Marsch was next, before Javi Gracia took over in February, and then Big Sam. In a last-ditch attempt to save the club from relegation, that attempt failed, and today Allardyce said he was leaving. So, who could replace him? Well, 2 of the names in the frame are Brendan Rodgers and Carlos Corberán. Rodgers is currently unattached. He was sacked by Leicester in April. They were also relegated. But he may be unwilling to step down to a championship club. Corberán is a former Huddersfield Town boss, currently with West Brom, and there are reports of a £2 million release clause on his contract. Lots to talk about on the Don't Go to Bed Just Yet podcast. Here's a flavour.
How can anybody at the moment trust the right decisions are going to be made when they've admitted to making the wrong decisions over, you've got to say, a significant period of time now to leave Leeds in this position? What is going to change to give people trust to think that this club is now in good hands?
And Don't Go to Bed Just Yet is out now on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. This weekend sees all 12 Super League teams play in one stadium over 2 days. It's called the Magic Weekend, and this season it takes place in Newcastle. Well, the mascots have been getting ready outside St James's Park, with matches taking place tomorrow and Sunday. First up for our teams, it's the Leeds Rhinos versus Castleford Tigers at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
You know, we expect every week is a hard contest. 2 teams that are desperately looking for a good performance and a result. So we're looking forward to that competition.
No, we're expecting the best version of Leeds, and we'll need to be good ourselves, you know, to get performance. And if we get a performance, hopefully we get the right result.
Now, you may have heard of the famous Le Mans 24-hour race in France, but did you know that one of the favourites to win in the Prototype 2 class is a Yorkshire motorsport team? United Autosport's headquarter is in Sheffield. We filmed the team at Leeds East Airport in Church Fenton while they were making their final tweaks for the race. Here's Mark Ansell.
Le Mans is up there with the greatest events in motorsport. 3 drivers per car take it in turns to race through the day and night. Le Mans is won by the car that covers the most distance in 24 hours. In 2020, Wakefield-based United Autosports won the Prototype 2 class of Le Mans.
It's a test of endurance, is a test of, you know, man and machine, and, you know, when you look back in the history of it, you know, the teams, the drivers that have competed and taken on the challenge here, it's the toughest test. So we like to test ourselves, and, you know, if you can come away with a win, there's nothing better than that.
There's something about the sound of the car and, you know, the drivers changing and the mechanics kind of descending on the car and fixing if there's a problem. There's so many parts that go into this race. It's a real team effort, and you absolutely couldn't do it without all of those people working together. So I think, especially when you're as close a team as we are, you know, a lot of us are from Yorkshire born and raised. So when it all comes together and you win a race, it means a lot, because it's been a Herculean effort.
The Yorkshire team have been making final preparations at Leeds East Airport in Church Fenton.
We need to just run the cars and prove that everything's been built correctly, and, you know, we got no glitches. And then we're doing some development work. So there's a lot of sensors on these cars, and engineers tucked away in the truck on computers. We've got live feed with the car. So we're doing what we call aero sweeps up and down here, where we'll get the car to a set speed, and then the pressure sensors and all the data that will give us information to help us hopefully come up with a winning setup at Le Mans.
United Autosports are leading their class of the World Endurance Championship and are one of the favourites at Le Mans. Fingers crossed they bring the booty back to Yorkshire. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Church Fenton.
And that looks super exciting.
So much fun, doesn't it? They wouldn't let me have a go.
No, you weren't allowed to do that piece.
No, by the way, I've ruled myself out of the Leeds United job, just in case you were wondering. What about yourself? Are you in or are you out, sir? You do a great job, I'm sure, Sally. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm out.
That's your Friday sport. Meanwhile, a lad from Shire Green has secured a spot in the final of Europe's Got Talent All-Stars. Kyle Tomlinson wowed judges to get a golden buzzer on Britain's Got Talent when he was just 15 years old. This year, he was asked to return to the big stage in Spain to take part in the competition again this time. It's the best of the best. Like all the best talent show contestants, Kyle has definitely been on a journey.
Well, I came a couple of years ago and I got told to get a singing teacher.
Who told you that? David?
How old were you when he said that to you?
12.
David, what did you think?
I thought it was really good!
That is an amazing moment, isn't it? There's no way you need a singing teacher now, Kyle. What a set of pipes you've got on you. What does it mean to you, sing that again?
It's unreal. Like, the whole experience of Britain's Got Talent, if anybody's watching and that wants to do it, do it. It's the best experience of your life, trust me, it's amazing.
And it was quite a while between that very first appearance and that second appearance, yes, wasn't it?
Yes.
And did you get a singing teacher? I don't want to be rude about it.
Yes.
You went away and worked on your act?
Yeah, so I first auditioned for Britain's Got Talent when I was 12 years old. And I got told to get a singing teacher by David Williams. And I went away for 3 years and came back 3 years later and then
blew them away.
That, yeah, basically, yeah.
And now, if I understand correctly, you're in some kind of, like, Super Champions League, aren't you? That's Europe-wide? Explain it to me.
Yeah, so it's called Got Talent All-Stars. So it's basically the best of the best, the fan favourites, golden buzzers, previous winners of all the Got Talent series.
Well, you got through to the final. You're more than a contender. You're in the final.
Yeah, it's that's a dream come true, to be fair. I went on that stage, honestly, not thinking I was going to get through, because there's that many people with unbelievable talent, and all of a sudden they said my name, and the emotions got to me, I'll be honest.
Now, listen, that voice is not just a voice that would keep you in musical theatre forever, it's a voice that sells millions of albums. So what do you want to do? Where do you go next?
The overall dream is to be on the West End or Broadway. I've always wanted to play a character called Javert in Les Miserables.
When you are in the West End, will you still take our phone calls, please?
Yes.
You
always,
sure?
Always, always.
And if you had that dream role, is it just the Les Mis one, or are there other things you'd like to tick off? You think, oh, there's a good performance, I'd like to be in that show.
Well, at the moment, I actually, I'm a tyre fitter.
OK.
Believe it or not. So during COVID, it completely wiped everything out. And it was a very hard industry to be in, the music industry. And I decided to go and work with my brothers who are tyre fitters. And I've learnt the trade and things like that. And still to this day, I still do it. But now with All Stars and everything, it's now giving me the opportunity to go, I'm still here. So that's what I do. And the dream is just to be a full-time musician, no matter what it is, just a full-time.
I think you are going to get there. And if not, good pipes and good on the pumps as well. Kyle, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure, thank you.
He was a great talent, certainly someone to keep your eye on. If you want to catch up with how he gets on, you can see the final this weekend, apparently on something called YouTube. So head to your computer and log into that. Now, talking of someone who's old and past it, and hopefully with an accurate forecast and can work.
Yeah, always an accurate forecast.
Yeah, it's been a long week working together, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Hopefully it won't be repeated. But, I mean, interestingly, this is turning out to be a prolonged dry spell. I mean, I think in Sheffield, it's not been... there's no measurable rain since May 11th. I think we might go to mid-June before we start talking about it. So I think many people like it because it's like the Goldilocks setup, isn't it? It's cool at night and lovely by day. But I mean, look at Scarborough. I mean, there was a gentle onshore breeze today, but it didn't put people off. It looks absolutely
wonderful, doesn't it?
Fantastic. I reckon that beach will be packed tomorrow. Let's have a look at the next picture. And the farmers have been busy getting the silage ready, cutting the grass. They'll be delighted with the weather at the moment. And then here's a question for Tom. It's your part of the world.
Yes,
this is Bradfield. Name that reservoir.
I'm going to say that's one I walk around quite a bit. I think that's Agden Reservoir.
Do you?
Just above Low Bradfield. Yes, I recognise it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If that's wrong, you get in touch
stroll.
with Tom if he's incorrect. If you've got any pictures, though, send them to me. Addresses are on your screen right now. So it looks as though it's going to be a fabulous weekend. If you've been at work, you think you've missed the blue skies, plenty of sunshine to come over the next weekend and into next week. So it's just mainly sunny, a very straightforward forecast to come tomorrow with, as I say, lots of blue sky. And this area of high pressure will be with us probably by next weekend as well. I mean, it's a remarkable setup for this just to be sat there on all the poor weather still across Spain, Portugal and into other parts of the Mediterranean, France as well. Now, there's the satellite picture. You can see there's not a cloud in the sky wherever you are across our region. Into this evening, it is a little bit on the cool side. I think as that sun weakens in the west, it will turn quite chilly, and that's fairly notable tonight as well. It's a really cold night for early June. Some spots as low as 3 or 4 Celsius. 4 Celsius is 39 Fahrenheit. So tomorrow's high water times, a busy coast tomorrow. Whitby 4:01, Scarborough 4:13, and again at 4:30 tomorrow tea time. A little bit of cloud that will have floated in overnight. That will very quickly melt away, just like it did this morning. It's going to burn off. And then we're looking at lots of blue sky, lots of sunshine, strong sunshine of that. And it's going to feel quite warm, 20 Celsius. That is very close to the long-term average for early June. That is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And then look at this for a further outlook. We're looking at some low cloud first thing Sunday. And again, that will burn away. And that's the story right through next week and probably into the following weekend. So lots of fabulous weather to come. That's it.
We have seriously messed up here because neither you or I booked off half term, did we?
We did not.
Some of our colleagues have hit the jackpot, haven't
Yes,
they?
but the editor was on the North York Moors and it's been cloudy and drizzly all week.
Well, a little rain into everyone's house must fall. Thank you for your company this week. Amanda's here tonight. Bye-bye.